Today is Monday, November 6th. I call the meeting to order. Sandy, will you please call the roll?
Yes. First, Mr. Warren, Chairman Warren asked me to let you all know that he had a death very close to his family, and he's a pallbearer this morning, so he apologized for not being here. And then we've got roll call. Mr. Sims?
Present.
Ms. Jacobs?
Present.
Mr. Brister?
Present.
Mr. Henderson?
Present.
Mr. Lockett? Mr. Brown? All right, you have a quorum.
At this time, the chair will entertain a motion for the agenda to be amended. The hearing is hereby canceled for today, and we need a motion to remove it from the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to remove the hearing from the agenda for today.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I'm sorry, sir. Motion to amend the agenda, I've been told, has to do a roll call vote.
Yes.
Roll call it.
Yes. Mr. Brister?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Ms. Jacobs?
Yes.
Mr. Sims?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Public comment. Anyone today would like to make a public comment, you have 5 minutes per person this time.
Good morning. I'm going to restrict all of my comments to Roman numeral 4, number 2, sub number 2, and that would be John Gore. Once again, that's going to be a graduate of the Freddie Lee Phillips School of Auctioneering. While I do not know his test score, I can rest assured that it was stellar. I know that because he's the only one in the history of the school, even though it is young, who has successively gotten 100s on his quizzes, and he did so on back-to-back occasions. So I have every confidence that this gentleman, just like any other school, and as I reiterated last time, is going to get a quality education through this school. And as an example of that, I'm going to briefly point out, because even he, talking about whether or not live or online works well, he sent an email and wanted to know about the taxation of the buyer's premium. And I felt 95% certain that it is considered taxable. But in order to be 100% certain, I sent inquiry to the Louisiana Department of Revenue and got the response, which it is. And it's put both on our website to have responded to that question, but also beyond that, just something as simple as the buyer's premium. When I went to auction school, they didn't teach, they taught absolutely nothing, zero, zilch, to quote Senator Kennedy, zero, zilch, nada, none of Louisiana auction law. That's what we teach from beginning to end. So on the buyer's premium, which is covered both in Lesson 10 of the Terms and Conditions, and also it's a full-blown lesson on the buyer's premium on Lesson 19. You're taught that, hey, you got to post it on prominent display. That isn't taught in these out-of-state auction schools. You've got to put it in the Terms and Conditions. That isn't taught in these out-of-state auction schools. It's stated it is a requirement that you have to cite a numeric example, which is one question that folk have missed on our test. That is a requirement when you go over the terms and conditions of an auction. All of that you learn at our school, they certainly didn't teach it up at Mankato. So we drill auction licensing law into folks' head. I make the analogy of like coming up to a traffic stop on a two-way stop. Sure, the law says you got to stop and then proceed, and that's all you legally have to do. But it's advisable to look to the left and look to the right and make sure nobody's coming. And that's what our school does. It prepares you not just to pass an exam, but also to be prepared for potential litigation that can arise, and specifically with regard to the buyer's premium. You have to be very careful about whom you're actually representing. And even in a situation where you say, hey, I'm strictly representing the seller, and they sign the terms and conditions saying, I am a representative of the seller and the seller only, have no relationship to the buyer. Actions speak louder than words. And we cited a specific example, even using my good buddy Dave Gilmore, wherein his partner Francis Bro went a little bit over the line, or more than a little bit over the line, and gave some advice to the buyer. And as a result of that, Dave Gilmore found himself sued, or his company did, along with Francis Bro. We give you the lawsuit, we give you what all transpired, we give you the denial of the motion for summary judgment, we go through the specifics of what happened in the lawsuit, and we include a copy of the judgment wherein $72,000 was awarded to the plaintiff. That's an example of when you pull up to a stop sign, using the traffic analogy, you know, sure, you can have it on sign terms and conditions that you're only representing the seller. Actions speak louder than words. Look to the left, look to the right, and if it's clear, go. So I can just want to reiterate the feedback we've gotten from the school has been fantastic. I did get one call. As I said before, if anybody has a question, they're welcome to call. We have a currently enrolled student that called me at 6 a.m. I answered his question, but I also told him that 6 a.m. wasn't going to fly, that he was welcome to call as late as midnight, but I'm not a morning person, and I'm sure not a 6 a.m. person. But my point in all that is that we provide more intense, one-on-one individual instruction than any other school I'm aware of. And with regard to the question on the buyer's premium, the taxation of the buyer's premium, when you're in a classroom setting, it's quite possible that that individual may have said, you know, I don't want to ask a dumb question. Well, with the situation that we have, they don't have to worry about that. It's privately sent, and we respond to it. So I assume that orange means I'm nearing the completion. So I want to thank y'all once again for the opportunity to speak before you, and look forward to recording the rest of the meeting. Thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman, I have some questions of Mr. Burns.
Go ahead.
Mr. Burns, how many of your courses are online for the Freddie B. Phillips Auctioneer School?
Ms. Jacobs, this board has responded saying it's under no obligation to answer questions from me. I'm going to flip the tables. I'm under no obligation to respond to you.
Okay, well, I have another question that you don't wish.
About the school, I suggest you subpoena me and answer me in a formal hearing.
Okay, well, that may happen, but I have another question, and I'm going to get my question out, even though you may want to sit down. How many licensed auctioneers actually teach at your school? Is it just Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
And you're not a licensed
That's correct, and I
auctioneer,
can
is
show
that
you
correct?
numerous other schools that have unlicensed auctioneers who teach.
Right.
Numerous who are approved by this board.
Because
Not
Mr.
the
Gore,
least of which is Mankato, Minnesota, where I went.
because John Gore is coming up for a vote as a tested auctioneer, how many of his courses at the Freddie B. Phillips School were online?
Substantial.
All right, I don't have any other questions.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobs.
I think I was very
Robert.
courteous to voluntarily respond to those questions.
Thank you, Robert.
You're quite welcome.
Well, you haven't responded to all of them, but thank you, Mr. Burns.
I gave you far more than I was under any obligation to give you,
I don't know about that.
especially given the commentary that I heard coming from you last month, that I think now, or 2 months ago, that I think we now all know the motivation for. But thank you, Ms. Jacobs. Always enjoy our interactions.
Mr. Phillips.
Good afternoon, good morning to all of y'all. Let me just set my timer. So I'm trying to get it up. I don't know what happened.
But we're timing you right now, so you might as well go ahead.
When it turns orange, you've still got 30 seconds.
That's what that orange means.
Yeah.
It's not that you don't.
I didn't, because I know I saw it, but I didn't know what was
It's
going
okay.
on. Let me just say this to the board, and I'm a man of peace and not a man of war, but I know how to make war when peace is not awarded. We come here to try to do what we can to help the industry and not hurt it. And look like every road that we're going down, somehow, some way, we see a lot of opposition to improving the industry. Let me just go back when I started LALB, Louisiana Association of Professional Auctioneers. That the reason why I started it because I take things professionally and not personally. And in one meeting I saw where Circumvention of Letters was trying to remove someone that I felt was not the way you do business, especially personally. And then when I started the Freddie Lee and not Freddie B School of Auctioneering, I started it with the intent of giving opportunity to those who could not afford it otherwise. And I think we have covered that. And let me just say this, and I don't have to question the quality of what we do because I'm there through the process, and I can say that the students that come in this boardroom to test or whether Ms. Evans take the test far exceeds any and pretty much all that probably come through because one, the thorough information that they're given and the thorough retesting and opportunities for them to interact personally and things of that magnitude. And I have no doubt about what they're getting. I have no doubt about the quality of what they're getting. And I have no doubt about what the board approved in giving us the opportunity to allow them to get a quality education. That's what I stand on. That's what I stand behind. It's nothing hidden, wasn't nothing put up under the carpet or anything like that. It was all brought out front, and that's all that matters. Are we doing what we're supposed to do in compliance? I don't think there's another school in the United States of America that teach Louisiana law and Louisiana principles of law better than we do and provide information that pertains to things that other schools would not give a student if they were set in the classroom setting. We make sure that they see things. You learn by example. More is caught than sometimes taught. So we use both principles in our curriculum. And so therefore, you know, we need to get past some of these frivolous issues that don't help the industry, only hurts the industry. We need to really remove some of the taintedness that comes along with the profession that I've spent most of my time in, trying to better it, not to hurt it. And I think this is where we have to come to reason together and talk things over. But war is not the option, and fighting is never going to get you anywhere. And I think this is where we have to think about it. I have a student that's studying for his license on here, and he's done everything he's supposed to do. He complied with all the things that he was supposed to comply with. We stand behind him, or we stand with him. You know, you crucify him, you crucify me. Because one, I believed in him, and he believed in the school. And as a result of that, I can say earnestly and honestly that, hey, you want a great education, you want one that helps you, especially if you're going to do business in Louisiana, you come to the Frederick Lee Phillips School of Auctioneering, where professionals are given a professional education, and that's what makes our school different from many of the other schools that are out there. And I can't say anything about my alma mater, but my alma mater doesn't give me what we give the students, and I understood that. So Louisiana law and the things that pertain to Louisiana are obvious. So with that being said, Ms. Evans, I commend you for the job that you do, and I commend this board for the job that you do. But at some point in time, you know, we have to look at things in reality. The world is moving, and it's moving to a cyber future, and yet we want to stay with the Flintstones. I think the Flintstones were good in its time, but that's behind time. And so as a result of that, I think that we need to consider looking at where we're going and what we're doing. With that, I give you my blessings. God bless you, and God keep you, so I'm praying.
Chairman Sims, I have some questions to ask Reverend Phillips.
Let me say this before you ask any questions. Any questions that I've answered in the past, I've answered again the same way I answered before. And Ms. Jacobs, our last comments in conversation, I don't think we ought to be talking at this juncture. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, so that means you're not going to answer my question?
I just said you could ask him, but it doesn't require me to answer. If you want to do that.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to know whether or not either you or Mr. Burns are licensed attorneys in the state of Louisiana, because you testified just a minute ago that you all were giving legal advice to your students. Or either you or Mr. Burns licensed attorneys in the state of Louisiana.
Well, apparently you're.
I'm talking to Reverend
So I want you to cite what we said was legal advice. Cite it. Cite it.
Calm down. Everybody calm down.
Cite it.
I'm not going to talk,
Okay,
Robert.
I
I'm
understand.
not going to put up that tone of voice.
You said that you were talking about a legal case, and you were explaining to someone, i.e. giving legal advice as to what it meant. That's giving legal advice, Mr. Burns.
Ma'am,
as far as I know, let me finish.
I read the
as far as I know, Mr.
That
Burns,
is reading.
you are not an attorney.
That is reading. I can read.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Okay, please. Let's move on.
And I think you need to be careful about making defamatory remarks. You had plenty of them at the last meeting.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we will.
Okay, need a motion to approve the minutes from September 11th.
I so move.
Need a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Under business, the attorney's report from Ms. Dow. Do you want to proceed to executive session, Ms. Dow?
Yes, please. Under the particular statutes mentioned, under
Okay.
item 401, Louisiana RS 4217A1, 4217A4, and 4217A10.
Okay. Motion to proceed into executive session.
I so move.
Second.
A second.
Ms. Edmondson, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, Mr. Brister?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Ms. Jacobs?
Yes.
Mr. Lockett?
Yes.
Mr. Sims?
Yes,
We are in
we
executive
are in
session.
executive session. Chair will entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
I so
Sandy-
move, sir.
I'll second.
Sandy, would you call the roll?
Yes.
For a roll call vote?
Mr. Brister?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Ms. Jacobs?
Yes.
Mr. Lockett?
Yes.
Mr. Sims?
Yes,
Okay, we're out of executive session.
we're out of executive session. All right, Anna, you have a,
Right. I just wanted to inform the board that it was Alabama's reciprocal agreement that we discussed, I forget, a couple of meetings.
Several meetings ago.
Yes. They did sign it, so we are now back in reciprocity with
Oh, with Alabama, good.
As you know, we made a few changes to, so that we were on the same page, primarily with regard to continuing education. Secondly, I want to let you know that NALOA has formed a group to discuss, with internet platforms, to discuss how internet platforms are handling money, complaints, et cetera, and generally how they interact with the auctioneers that are in licensing states. I have been asked to be on that particular committee. At our last teleconference with NALOA, there was a good deal of discussion and quite favorable from the platforms that were participating. We had 3 or 4 participating at that time. So we're looking forward to trying to work out some of these details with the platforms as far as licensing is concerned to maybe help the various regulatory boards. There will also be other members, staff, and/or board members from other states.
this is for online auction platform?
Yes. So the question is, for example, if there was a complaint, because they received the money first, the money is normally paid through the platform, you know, the money has to then flow into the trust account and how that's being handled as far as disputes, et cetera, that the platforms are doing.
Okay.
So, like I said, we have another meeting scheduled for December 6th, and I'll be participating at that time. And again, NALOA has no authority to determine specific things for that that are purely regulatory. In other words, they can't tell us what to do. I think it's more of an informational situation for the boards to understand exactly how the process is working today. And I'll report back at the next meeting.
Okay,
That's last year.
is that everything?
Yes, it is, sir.
Moving on to item 2 on the agenda, tested auctioneer applicants. First applicant is Doug
And Singer,
Ensinger.
maybe?
You have all his paperwork?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Make a motion to approve.
I second.
Motion made and seconded, to accept Doug's Ensinger for licensee. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Any discussion? Motion carried. Second application is John Gore. Chair will entertain a motion to grant his license.
Everything's in order.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve. I second it.
Motion made, second, to approve Mr. Gore as a licensed auctioneer in the state of Louisiana. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye. Opposed.
Motion carried. Item,
May I
Edward.
say, can we have discussion on number 2?
Go ahead, Darlene.
I oppose because I can't approve online education, and I understand that that's what Mr. Gore had, online education, in order to become an auctioneer. Therefore, I am opposed to his being accepted as an auctioneer.
Okay.
Well,
Duly
I know
noted.
you've taken the vote, but, now you've opened up discussion, so I'd like to invoke my 1 minute discussion of the single line item prior to the vote. I assume you can retake that vote.
It won't be retaken.
Well,
It's
a
then you
license.
shouldn't have entertained discussion after the fact. If there was going to be discussion, discussion should have taken place prior to a vote.
Okay, Robert, okay. Say what you want to say, Robert.
All right, I won't be for a second. I think that in light of an email that has been well distributed, it would be incumbent upon Ms. Jacobs to recuse herself on votes of this board, and I want to go on record as saying she ought to have an obligation to recuse herself based on this email of April the 25th that she sent to her senator, J.P. Morrell, casting this gentleman in a highly negative light. I'll be happy to read it into the record. But I think as a result of this alone, and it's not the only basis, she ought to have an obligation to recuse herself. And I really don't think it ought to be me pointing it out. There's an obvious need for a recusal. You don't send out an email that has this kind of content on it and then turn around and say, you're qualified to sit in judgment of it. I will be more than happy, if anybody wants it, I'll be more than happy to
Well, go ahead and read it out
record.
into the record.
What?
Go ahead and read it out into the record.
She's requested that I do so.
Yes, go ahead.
Fine. Dear Senator Morrell, this was sent on April the 25th, 2016 at 4:49 p.m. You will shortly be asked to confirm the governor's appointment of Mr. Freddie Phillips to the Louisiana Auctioneers Board. I would respectfully ask that you not confirm this appointment. As an auctioneer who has previously served on the board, I can tell you that Freddie Phillips insults the members of the board meetings and brings nothing but disdain to the Auctioneers Board. He and his friend, Robert Burns, a former auctioneer, have accused the board of illegal practices and payroll fraud. When I served on the board, I never made a claim for per diem or mileage cost. All of you know that I have a very lucrative law practice and do not need the money. I am attaching herewith a copy of a newsletter that has been sent out by Mr. Robert Burns, a friend and benefactor of Freddie Phillips. The organization that he belongs to has two members, Phillips and Burns. Should you wish to discuss this matter further, please call me at 504-522-3287. Respectfully yours, Darling M. Jacobs. I do not think the content of that represents an unbiased and neutral party.
Okay,
That's
I'm
my
not going to
sentence.
recuse myself, and I stand by every allegation that I have in there.
Can you repeat that?
I said I am not going to recuse myself, and I stand by every allegation that I have written in that letter.
Well, that's interesting because it sure didn't match up with the recorded phone call you and I had only 9 days later. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, it's out there too.
Okay.
7-minute phone call.
Well,
It's
you know,
recorded,
Mr.
everybody's been
Burns,
able to hear it.
you can say whatever you want and blog whatever you want. I'm not recusing myself.
I want to just thank
I
the board.
understand. I just
We good. Let me thank the board for what you all have done in upholding the integrity of our industry by approving our students. Let me just say this to all of y'all. We need to bring some kind of composure to what we do professionally. We don't need this. I'm not for this. All
Well,
I'm
talk to
trying do-
Mr. Burns about it.
I'm trying to do what's right for the industry. That's all I want to do. But we can't keep going back and forth. I don't have any animosity against anyone in this room. All I want to do is provide quality education to the auctioneers who desire to have one and make it affordable for everyone. That's all. I thank you for that. Let's have some peace, please.
Thank you, Freddie. Moving on. Edward Houston. His exam is pending tomorrow,
Tomorrow, yes, sir.
but you have all his paperwork,
I do, yes, sir.
you have
And-
bond on him?
Correct. And he completed his apprenticeship under Nick Hardy.
Okay.
And if I made the motion, you should note the date that it would be effective for, which is January 1st, 2018.
Yes, he is requesting that his license be effective January 1st.
Okay. We have a motion.
I move that Mr. Edward Houston be approved.
Second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Reinstated auctioneer. First one is David Schumann Jr.
Sherman.
Jr. He was previously licensed in 2007 to 2014. He is requesting his license be effective 1/1/18, pending all original documents.
Right, because an email came in on Friday.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve pending all the proper paperwork.
And I second that.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Wendell Gio, previously licensed 2009, 2010, requesting a 1/1/18 license pending bond. He's also requesting a exam waiver due to health. Is that correct?
He wrote a short letter to the board, to the state auctioneering board. My name is Wendell Gilyard. Not sure how he says it. I went to Missouri auction in 2008. I came home and took the test and passed. I even joined the state association. I served on the Louisiana State Plumbing Board for 10 years. I did one auction and became very ill and was no longer able to function, so I was not able to renew my license. Now all is good again, and I'm asking the board to please consider waiving the test. I have no problem with paying all the fees. I humbly ask you to consider my situation. I would appreciate your consideration on this.
Now, what's been the protocol with the board with that? He's already took the test once.
He took the test. Normally, because of the length of time he's been out, he would literally have to take it again.
The rule is official rule is if you were licensed for more than 5 years, you're not required to retest, is the regulation
Oh, sorry.
that's in place.
He was only there for what, 1 year?
For more than 5 years, then you don't have to retest to reinstate your license, where he was licensed for about 1.5 years.
And he did go to an auction
Order
school.
this 2 years.
And our test has changed.
Yes, and it's been since 2009, since he tested.
That's how long he was out for?
Yes.
He was only good for 1 year?
He
Well,
was
it said
licensed,
2009 and 10, so, I mean, that's 2 years. According to this, he was licensed. His license expired at the end of 2010, the way I read this.
Needs to retest.
Board will entertain a motion to whatever y'all deem necessary.
I think we probably need more information on it before we can approve it.
I spoke to him on the phone and asked him if there was anything further. I personally felt the letter was a little vague. Was there more that he wanted to share
Right.
to make his story more compelling? And he said no. And I told him that, I can't speak for the board. I don't
Right.
know what they're going to say. And
I think we need more compelling information, and I think we ought to defer this to the next meeting.
Or you have a right to approve it pending the testing.
he said he was fine taking a test if y'all didn't waive it.
But I don't think we ought to waive it. I think we ought to take the test.
I make a motion we approve pending the proper paperwork and the
Passage of the
after
test.
And the
testing.
passage of the test. I second that.
Motion been made that Mr. Keough be granted a license as soon as all paperwork, bonds, and retesting has occurred. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
I was trying to ask a question, because just for the common in his interest, I would love to assist him with any information to help him prepare for the test. If he can contact us, seeing he's been out the industry for so long, we can help get him to a place where he can be, qualified. Because things have changed, and I think he's going to need a little more information, and we'll assist him in that regard if he will so requires. So you can inform him that we'll help him.
Okay.
Thank you, Freddie. Reciprocal auctioneer of applicant Brett Richards. Temporary license granted 10/24/17, effective immediately. All paperwork, bonds, requirements have been met.
Yes, sir.
Make a motion that we approve.
I second.
Motion made, second. Approve Brett Richards as a licensed auctioneer in the state of Louisiana. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Auction business applicant, Allen's Auction House LLC, effective immediately, pending bond.
Which arrived this morning, so we can forget the pending bond. So everything is in order.
I vote that they be accepted.
I'll second.
Motion made to accept Allen's Auction House LLC as a licensed business auction in the state of Louisiana. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Item number 2, G&G Auctions LLC, requesting a 1/1/18 license pending bond. Is all paperwork and bonds in order?
Everything except for the bond. So it would be
Waiting on
pending,
bond.
it would be pending bond.
All paperwork is in order. The chair will entertain a motion.
I would make a motion that they be accepted pending the receipt of the bond.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion made that G&G Auctions LLC be granted a license on 1/1/18 pending confirmation of bond. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Approval of financials. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the financial statement.
Yes, I have reviewed the financial statement, and I make a motion that it be approved as stated.
Is there a second?
A second.
Motion made, second duly noted. Financial statement be approved as written. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Board meeting dates for 2018. Proposed dates are January 22nd, March 5th, May 7th, July 9, September 10, November 5. Anybody have any discussion on these dates?
So I move that they be approved.
Second?
Second.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Why are we late into the 22nd of January?
Yes, because the state law requires that all renewals be processed by January 10th. So it's really difficult to have a meeting before then because everybody waits to renew that week.
Okay.
And then the Martin Luther King holiday is in there. But I have a third reason also. We did this for the first time last year,
I
and
know
it worked
you did it
really
this
well.
year.
It worked really well because what happens is people get through the holidays and then they want to send in their application. So it still gives them time to get their application in and test for their January meeting. Whereas if we meet like January 9th, they all missed the January meeting and they can't get a license till March.
Okay.
Anybody else got any question about the proposed dates?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carried. Publish the dates, Sandy.
Will do.
Next meeting will be January 22nd, 2018. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Second. Motion made to adjourn, seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. This meeting is adjourned. Temporary license granted 10/24/17, effective immediately. All paperwork, bonds, requirements have been met.
Yes, sir.
Make a motion that we approve.
I second.
Motion made, second. Approve Brent Richards as a licensed auctioneer in the state of Louisiana. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, Motion carried. Auction business applicant, Allen's Auction House LLC, effective immediately, pending bond.
Which arrived this morning, so we can forget the pending bond, so everything is in order.
I vote that they be accepted.
I'll second.
Motion made to accept Allen's Auction House LLC as a licensed business auction in the state of Louisiana. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Item number 2, G&G Auctions LLC, requesting a 1/1/18 license pending bond. Is all paperwork and bonds in order?
Everything except for the bond. So it would be
Waiting on
pending,
bond.
it would be pending bond.
All paperwork is in order. The chair will entertain a motion.
I would make a motion that they be accepted pending the receipt of the bond.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion made that G&G Auctions LLC be granted a license on 1/1/18 pending confirmation of bond. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Approval of financials. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the financial statement.
Yes, I have reviewed the financial statement, and I make a motion that it be approved as stated.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made, second duly noted. Financial statement be approved as written. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Board meeting dates for 2018. Proposed dates are January 22nd, March 5th, May 7th, July 9, September 10, November 5. Anybody have any discussion on these dates?
So, sir, I move that they be approved.
Second?
Second.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Why are we late into the 22nd of January?
Yes, because the state law requires that all renewals be processed by January 10th. So it's really difficult to have a meeting before then because everybody waits to renew that week. And then the Martin Luther King holiday is in there. But I have a third reason also. We did this for the first time last year, and
know
it worked
you did it
really
this
well.
year.
It worked really well because what happens is people get through the holidays and then they want to send in their application. So it still gives them time to get their application in and test for their January meeting. Whereas if we meet like January 9th, they all missed the January meeting and they can't get a license till March.
Okay.
Anybody else got any questions about the proposed dates?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carried. Publish the dates, Sandy.
Will do.
Next meeting will be January 22nd, 2018. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Second. Motion made to adjourn, seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. This meeting is adjourned.